This is Charter Local Edition. My name is Brad Pomerance. We are joined by Ara Najarian. He is the mayor of Glendale, also a candidate for the Los Angeles County Board of Supervisors, the seat currently held by Mike Antonovich, who is termed out of office. I want to speak about Glendale if we can.
Sure.
And what a beautiful city you have. And you drive through the neighborhoods and the lawns are beautiful and the landscapes are beautiful. But as we know, now may not be the time to have beautiful lawns and beautiful landscapes. Maybe time to have drought-tolerant plants and rockscapes. But there is a law on the books right now in Glendale that focuses on artificial turf. What does it tell us?
Well, it tells us that in the residential zones, you cannot have artificial turf in your front yard. You can have it in your backyard, but you can't in the front yard, and you have to have 30% of living material in your front yard, and turf is not considered living material.
Fascinating. And I understand that maybe during a different time, that ordinance may have made sense. It may have been defensible, and while I try not to take a position as a news anchor myself, it does seem that maybe times have changed. We are in a 4-year drought. It is historic. And we know that the Metropolitan Water District, of which you receive your water, from where you receive your water, they have very aggressive, vigorous rebate programs for artificial turf. So what is Glendale considering as we speak today?
Well, what we're considering is lifting the ban on artificial turf and permitting the homeowners to put the artificial turf in their front yard. It's not universally accepted, though.
Right.
There are those diehards who say, no, you must have a lawn in your front yard, a live lawn.
And what's interesting is some of those, as I understand it, that are in support of the status quo actually are your colleagues on the Glendale City Council.
Yes.
I believe Laura Friedman has come out in favor of status quo. We expect that this ordinance will be considered at some point over the summer. Look, I'm all for beauty, but you know, let's go to the Coachella Valley. We can take a road trip together. Rockscapes can be beautiful. Drought-tolerant lawns can be beautiful. Artificial turf done well can be beautiful.
Well, my colleagues who support keeping the ban in place point out to the drought-tolerant landscaping, the native chaparral and cactus and succulents and some rockscaping. But the problem is, if you have a family or you enjoy using a lawn as a recreation area, you just can't do that. You're going to get a cactus thorn in your backside if you're running for the ball or you chase and slip.
But turf, I mean, look, turf of today is not the turf when we were playing soccer in the 80s.
It is not.
You know, it doesn't hurt. It doesn't get quite as hot. It's not as spiky and artificial feeling. I mean, it can be.
It's very aesthetically pleasing now. It's oftentimes confused with the real stuff. And because we use about 60% of the water that a household uses for outside irrigation, this is almost, I don't want to say a no-brainer, but there's a compelling reason to permit people to put turf.
So let me ask you, aside from your fellow council members, what do Glendale residents think about this? I mean, look, you've been active in the community for years. You're now running for office in a larger zone. So what are people saying to you?
The arguments take two basic tacks. Number one is that the artificial turf is artificial and poisonous. And
is it poisonous?
No, it's not. We've tested it.
Okay.
You can't eat it. You shouldn't eat it.
But you shouldn't eat grass either, presumably.
And they suggest a more natural and sustainable type of landscaping. And others say, no, we have developed and designed our neighborhoods for that expansive lawn in front of each home. It gives that sense of spaciousness with a live growing product, and we don't want that to be changed either. So some say it's not safe, it's artificial and dangerous. Others say aesthetically we want that live material.
But anecdotally, I know you haven't taken a scientific poll, but anecdotally, what are you hearing? I know that you've described what the naysayers are saying, but do you have a sense about what the community thinks? I mean, if you had to predict a scientific poll on this issue, would Glendale residents be in favor or against lifting the ban?
I think Glendale residents would be in favor.
Yes.
And I think part of it goes that we respect those who do not like artificial turf.
And you don't have to get artificial turf.
Exactly.
Yeah, this is
It's
not a mandate.
Exactly.
And so when you consider also the following, Glendale, like every city, is required now to reduce its water consumption by anywhere from 8 to 36%. Glendale actually got a target, was given a target that's actually not that bad, 20%. I mean, there are some sister cities of yours, Arcadia,
Right.
they're at 36%. So while you've done fairly well in terms of comparing to your sister cities, 20% is still a big number. It's not
still is-
8%, it's not 16% like LADWP.
It still is huge, and you can't reach that just by taking shorter showers.
And so where do you go from here? You have this 20% target. I understand actually that you have issued in about a 9-month period over 1,400 letters to residents that seem to be overusing. No fines yet.
Right.
But is it time for Glendale to get a little firmer on the question, putting the turf issue aside, on the question of overuse?
I would hate to be the mayor where the fines, at the time the fines are implemented. We really want to educate the folks
but here-
and get them to cut back.
I hear you. Believe me, I hear you. But look, this, I'm not a scientist, I'm not a geologist, I'm not a weatherman. From what I know, this is a crisis. We are really facing very serious times. And I just wonder if it's time for our elected officials to say, I don't want to do this, but we've given you one warning. I don't know if you've given a second warning, but we have to do something.
Brad, that day will come. That day will come soon as the drought gets worse, and we are going to have to start ramping up the penalties, and that if that means fines, we're going to have to do it.
But is that the responsibility of the mayor and the council to say, okay, time to start imposing fines, or is it the utility that will make that decision?
No, it'll be the council.
Okay.
It'll be the council that do that. And we tried to deal with it through increasing prices of the water.
Right.
So hit them in the pocketbook, and it'll just make sense to cut back their usage.
Now, I'm sure you know there was a decision out of San Juan Capistrano that looked at those penalties
Right.
for overuse. Do you feel as if that Glendale's water rates are at risk because of that?
No, we're safe because we get it from two different spots. We have our groundwater that we charge the lower rate
Okay.
for, but as we get the water from MWD, we can say that it's that extra price that we're getting charged
I see.
that we're going to
I
pass
see.
on to you.
I see. And so how has that worked? I mean, do you see that people are jumping over and needing that MWD water?
Yes, they are, but we are cutting back our water usage. I think we were about 10%, so we've got a ways to go still to meet that 20%, and it might be even more strict next year.
So as you're looking at an office where you would represent 2 million people as opposed to Glendale's at 200,000, so it's only 10 times more, where's your focus on this issue of drought?
It is a serious issue, and I think we really have to move away from the way we used to live,
Right.
and that's watering our huge lawns. So it's through that process, the change of mindset, and once we start reducing the water that we use for external irrigation, I think that'll buy us a lot of time to develop some of these other infrastructures that the governor has proposed and hope for a change in Mother Nature's weather pattern to replenish the reservoirs that we do.
Amen to that. His name is Ara Najarian. He is the mayor of the beautiful city of Glendale, California. He is also a candidate for the Board of Supervisors in Los Angeles County. The seat is currently held by Mike Antonovich, but he is termed out. What's the seat number?
5th District.
5th District. My name is Brad Pomerance. You are watching Charter Local Edition.